Hello everyone and welcome to a very nice game that was played a few months ago. It's a game between two world champions, current or rather reigning world champion Ding Liren in classical chess and the former world blitz champion Alexander Grischuk, who won the world blitz championship in 2012 and 2015. And since Ding didn't do all that great, the bar of course was set high for a reigning world champion in the classical event that he just played in Bucharest. He got 8th place out of 10. You guys requested to show a nice game that Ding played. So this is a blitz game against Alexander Grischuk, who is an exemplary blitz player, also gets in time trouble quite a lot. Let's check out what happened in this one and why it's so awesome. So Ding has the white pieces and he opens with knight to f3. He goes for the Reti opening. We have knight f3, g3, d5, bishop to g2, and pawn to c5 now. The so-called Sicilian variation against the King's Indian. We have castles, and now pawn to g6. We have d4, c captures on d4, knight captures, and bishop to g7. Bit of a rare setup Grischuk is going for, but it has been played before, of course. We have knight to b3. c4 is the top move here. Ding wants to play sort of a sideline. We have knight to b3, castles, knight to c3, now putting pressure on the d5 pawn, and Sasha just defends it. We have e4, knight to c6, and e captures on d5. And Ding knows this position very, very well. He even had it in a classical event against Michael Adams, and he won a very nice game there in 2019 in Kazakhstan, Astana. But in that game, e captures on d5 was played here. Grischuk continues with knight captures on d5. And now Alireza tried knight to e4 against Caruana once, and he only got a draw there. But here we have knight captures on d5, and it is now, as of move 11, that we have a completely new game. So here e captures on d5, and now pawn to c3. This is a beautiful move because it controls d4, it controls the knight on c6, it controls the bishop. So Grischuk decides to get rid of the pawn, c captures, knight captures, and now bishop to e3, threatening to win the knight here. So knight back to c6. You could also capture on b3, but then a queen trade is avoided, and Ding will continue to have pressure against black's queen side. So instead, knight back to c6, and now knight to c5. And this is a tricky move by Ding because it sort of offers a complete trade down. If Sasha wants, he could trade everything, like captures, rook captures on d1, bishop captures on b2, now the rook attacks the bishop, or even better, bishop captures, knight captures on b7 first, which would force the bishops on the b file, then rook to b1, and if you want to save the bishop pair, you have to play bishop to e6, attack the rook on f1, rook f to d1, and now let's say bishop to c3, and now you regain your piece with bishop captures, and then the rook comes to b8, to d8, to c8, or wherever you want, but should be okay. Instead, after knight to c5, queen to e7 was played, and okay, Ding plays rook to e1, puts the rook in front of the queen. We have rook to d8, now attacks Ding's queen, and Ding goes queen to b3. We have queen to c7, getting the queen out of harm's way off of that e-file, and now rook a to c1. Ding basically finishes his development, and Sasha can't really find an active move here. He should play something like pawn to h6, but he played queen to b6, and now Ding's position is winning, but you have to play a precise series of moves. So feel free to pause the video here and try to find the Ding's idea while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on spotting this beautiful maneuver. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is knight captures on b7. And here, when Ding played it, everyone thought, okay, he just wants to pick up the pawn, and later on he's going to capture on c6. So Sasha believed him. He played queen captures on b3. The only way to continue this is actually to play queen captures on b7. Then you play bishop captures on c6. Then queen captures on b3. And only after you trade, you move the rook from the a8 square, and now comes bishop to g5, but still this will be very, very hard to survive for black. But he ruined his position completely. After this knight captures on b7 move, he played queen captures on b3, but now Ding does not recapture the queen. He plays knight captures on d8, and he leaves the queen on b3 just b, you know, what can Sasha play here? He has to move the queen. He can capture on b2, he can capture on a2, he decides to capture on b2, but now Ding just plays knight captures on c6. He wins even more material, and the problem also for Grischuk is that Ding has well around 2 minutes on the clock, and Grischuk has some 20 minutes on the clock. And yes, this is 5+1, so you do get the 1 second increment after you play a move, and that can be quite a lot since this was played online. it's still not going to be easy. We have bishop to b7, because how do you meet the threat of knight to e7 check, just winning the rook on a8? Bishop to b7 was played, but now rook to b1. The only winning move, but Ding finds it, attacks the queen. We have queen to c3, and now, of course, none of you are considering rook captures b7 because the rook on e1 is hanging. So rook e to c1, and it was in this position on move 23 that Alexander Grischuk resigned the game, and Ding won a brilliant, brilliant victory by sacrificing none other than his most valuable piece, the queen. So here you resign because once the queen moves and you have to move the queen, you're just going to capture on b7, and you have too much for the queen. You have a light square bishop, a knight, and a rook for the queen, and that's simply too much material. Of course, Grischuk cannot contest this, especially with so little time on the clock. The problem is, let's say rook to f8. There are even moves like bishop to d5, and now black is without a move for the rest of the game pretty much, and you can't capture the bishop because of knight to e7 check, just winning the queen back. So not a lot to do for Sasha here. So of course, after this rook e to c1 move, Sasha resigned, and a brilliant, brilliant victory for Ding Liren, or in those days the future world classical champion Ding Liren. So yeah, while Ding had a tough event, he will now play the Rapid and Blitz tournament in Poland. We'll see if he bounces back strong in that one, or is it simply not enough time. It starts in some 3 days, so stay tuned until that time. And if you guys have any other suggestions that you would like me to cover, just use hashtag suggestion in the comments, and I will go over that game. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. A very nice miniature by the classical world champion Ding Liren. I would like to thank Mazin Elsarag, Ding Fan, Ravishing Reptiles YouTube, Human Yamalareza, and Blake Terra for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check two of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check up on everything else that's happening in the chess world, and your wonderful suggestions, as I usually do. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.